three
So
colors.
now I say, okay.
GCR gives you the opportunity to generate a black, full range black, or skeleton black. Okay? Are we out of time?
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Okay, cool.
So you can see how much is being.
So this is the UCR now?
This is, yeah,
Okay.
UCA, yeah. Oh, is it UCR? UCR.
And you want to show the black?
Yeah.
the other black
Oh,
guy.
the other?
Yeah. That one is the white one.
It should pretty much be
That
similar.
would be similar.
It will be similar.
It's,
So that, like I was, the UCR is only adding 3 color to the shadow. UCR.
It looks like this has a little bit more contrast or something.
Yeah.
Well,
There's-
it's got a little bit more shade, the
yeah.
black,
Mhm.
because that black is coming into the
But just at the end,
mid-quarter,
yeah.
whereas the UCR is beyond that. So you're not gonna see areas like this, possibly.
Look at the lapel area, even here, right? Right here. This is
gone.
right there.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. This
You
slight,
leave a little bit.
yes.
Typically,
Is this how you generate an extra black like bump plate? Is that the sort of thing?
that's taking a you can do that.
You
You
could.
can take a channel
Yeah,
and then duplicate that channel, then you can mess with the opacity
okay.
of that channel, depending upon how much black you want. And I don't know if we're gonna have time to get into it, but we did that when we did some hexachrome printing. We created bump plates.
Right.
But you gotta be careful, because if you want it just to be a bump, let's say you want the red, you might use the black plate, because it's got very little information, as opposed to using the red plate, because the red plate might be too much.
Okay.
But you would take a channel, duplicate that channel, mess with the opacity, and see where you want that bump plate to go into the area which you
What
want
do you want to
enhance.
enhance, basically? Which part of the image you really want to make stand out? Because all that extra color is, all it's going to do is give it a bump. You probably don't want it overall. You just want certain elements to
Right, might
get
get
it
you
down.
strong.
Yes. Okay.
Is it possible just to see the four color of each of these two before
Yep.
you go on? I
Mhm.
can see if there's any difference. Wow. It looks like very.
Yep. So, and each one of them is it's a system in itself. If you're not comparing it to the other,
Yeah.
well, what's fine, right? I mean, before flat screen TVs and 8D TV and all that stuff, come on, we watched our TV, there was no problem, right? You know, because it's a system in itself and it works. Until you sit it next to your, the very day you bring in your flat screen 8D and you go, oh my goodness, what have I been watching? You remember it because just you turned it off a minute ago to turn on your 8D. You see the difference. But after a while, it's a system in itself. There will be a system that can challenge your 8D to make it look like, oh my goodness, what am I watching? But until that arrives, what you're seeing is great. Okay, so if any one of these will stand on its own until you take the original and you go, I don't know, right? It's a system on its own, that can stand, each one will stand on its own. If you put them against each other, now, human beings being what we are, we have our preferences. If we polled, right in here, something like that, something like this,
It's not wrong.
we come into, no, it's not because it's wrong. We come into color with our own biases. And that's one of the issues with color. We have our own biases. So as you're making that change in there, your bias is, okay, let me tweak this down because of what you like. Your preferences are all tied in there. It affects how you make your adjustment. Not taking into consideration how your eye, your monitor actually sees it, because mine is different from yours. I may be colorblind in some, gosh, I can't remember the percentage of folks who are colorblind. Quite a number. It doesn't mean that you can work in this industry. When you know where your problems are, you can compensate accordingly for that.
I do know this, that when I'm on a press check with a young lady, I let her drive me, because women can see color better than men. So if she's looking at a sheet, I don't argue. She said she wants it bluer or more cyan, so I'll be right back. If she wants it more magenta, I'll be right back. Because they are able to They have more cones in their eyes that they could receive color better than men. That is a known fact.
It's no fact, yes.
So don't ever argue with the young lady about that. Should we touch on some line screens or anything like stochastic conventional?
Yes, yes.
How that also affects chromaticity and color?
Yes. So now you have your separation, and you're going to put, you have a continuous tone image that has no dots. Your picture that you see on the screen
I
really.
think I might have an example of that, conventional versus stochastic. I just,
Okay.
let me see if I can pick it up.
So when you separate the information, you have it on your computer, but to transfer it so we can print, they need to be converted into a bunch of dots. To get those dots, we also need to define how many, the frequency of the dots, how many lines per inch. We call lines per inch, but really it's just dots. The lines per inch go way back into early days of printing, but you could use stars per inch. You could use diamonds per inch, whatever shape you want. You could use butterflies if you want, and let it make your image out of butterflies if you want. So dots per inch. So we have two systems that we use to produce the dots. We have a conventional dot system, which is really made up of various sizes of dots. It's smaller dots when you are in the light area, right? Because if you think about it, when whatever printer you have at home, you have one black ink. There's no green. It's one black ink. But when you print, you see gray. You see middle gray. You see black. Why? Because of this. When the dots are farther apart, it's an optical illusion. The farther apart the dots are, in your mind, you see gray. The closer together they get darker and darker, a little darker gray. And in here, look at the distribution of the white dot, or the black dot, which has gotten heavier, versus the white that's coming through. Okay, very little white coming through, so you see black. A lot of light coming through with very small dots scattered around, so you see gray. So that's what's going on there. That's the conventional dot system. Then we have the stochastic, which uses
Microns.
very, very small dots. But also the main point here is that this here will have every color at a different angle.
Right there on the right. I mean, see it? This is shown. These are
They're creating what we call a rosette pattern. If you take any printed page and use a what do you call it, a loop, or the
yeah.
you got some here. You can look at it and you're going to see this pattern because each color is at a different angle. The colors do not, yellow, magenta, cyan, and black do not sit on top of each other. If they sit on top of each other, guess what happens? They create a muddy brown color. So in order not to have that happen, they angle differently.
It also would create an array.
Your moire, you have to keep the dots about 30 degrees away from each other. Each dot is angled about 30 degrees away from the other. Okay? From zero. Okay? So if you don't have that, they'll be printing on top of each other. And if it's less, it creates a moire. Pattern. And the moire is unacceptable dot pattern. It makes the dots look much bigger and creates this really.
You sometimes, when you see guys wearing tweed jackets, street guys,
Yeah.
if you had a picture that had a tweed, person wearing a tweed jacket, there would be an interference with that dot
It's actually,
and that line.
the real term is
And
interference.
it would show an array. And somebody like, what's going on?
It looks at the pattern and go, wait a second, what's going on there? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like the stochastic printing is really good for catalog printing and really good for recording. It does show that.
It gives you more highlight and shadow detail.
Exactly.
Because the microns are the same. And it also maintains what I call chromaticity of color. It doesn't make the color look dirty. It actually brightens the color. And you're right, it's good for web printing because you can't push it. If you
But
try to
also
do it
there's no
conventional,
angle.
you try to push the ink, it is what it is. And that's one of the downfalls. Another downfall with stochastic screening is that it's flat, in my opinion. That's why they came up with hybrid screening, where they would introduce an AM screen in the highlight area, and in the mid-tone area, but it would be stochastic in the highlight and the shadow area. Because, as I was stating, you can't push it, because it maintains flatness. With AM screening, you can push the ink. So that's why they came up with the hybrid screening, that you could have both worlds of stochastic with the highlight and shadow detail and the contrast that conventional screening gives. So it's the best of both worlds. You don't want to use it on flesh tones. You want to use it on product, jewelry, silverware, stuff of that nature, because that's where everything is very high key. So you want to pretty much enhance that with that type of screening. That's what I would recommend. Or if you have a job that you're doing builds, solid builds, and you don't want to see the rosette pattern, stochastic screening is good for that because it almost acts as if it's doing a solid.
The equivalent of that will be what you see on your inkjet. If you look at inkjet printing versus, say, like an Epson proof, and you lay it next to a printed sheet, unless you're doing stochastic, your printed sheet will have dots that look like that. Okay, and I think Steve has, I don't know if you brought your stochastic printing sample.
I'm sorry, stochastic?
Yeah.
I have everything.
Okay, good. So you can look at the dots and you'll be able to see samples of stochastic dots and the way they look versus conventional. One advantage you have with conventional, with stochastic, is that you don't have the angles, to do with. There are no angles that you deal with like you have in conventional. So that can be also an advantage, because if your angles are not right in the conventional world, you're going to end up with a moire.
I also found that it doesn't like metallic inks for some reason. We had a job that we did stochastic metallics, and it acted horrible. I don't know, I never got to the bottom of it, never talked to the manufacturer, but that screening for some reason on this particular project, they didn't like it. The metallic and the stochastic didn't get along for some reason or another. But other applications that we use it for, it works very well. What else?
Now, you had a question, I'm trying to remember.
Color management.
You what?
Device.
Oh, about PDFs? Yeah,
Yes.
if from a printer's perspective, do you get better quality if you use the InDesign file with the linked images as opposed to a PDF?
Well, the reason why we like having we like that PDF because basically you've frozen the process in place.
Right.
If it's done properly. And as you can see, even within your own system, you print from your file, right, and it's coming up one way, and you print from a PDF, and it's coming up another way.
Yeah.
So your PDF will have, in this color settings area, some sort of color management authorization there, asking the file to be color managed by, say, the printer. That's your printing device.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes in there versus coming out of InDesign. It may actually be managed by InDesign and not, time up? Okay.
Right.
Being managed by InDesign and not the printer. The two would have different profiles, that are tied, to them, so it comes up, differently, right? So you can create a PDF, but you just need to know what it is that you're doing. One of the basic things we look for, and we'll send you a setting, for a PDF. If you have to send us a PDF, we'll give you the settings so that you can plug it into InDesign or whatever application you're using and generate a PDF that we know that you can go to sleep and not have to worry about it, wondering what am I going to get the next day. Okay, no surprises at all. Or else we can also show you what you need to do in your settings in the PDF. Usually do that during one of the other sessions that we have here on printing 101 or whatever.
Back to basics.
Back to basics. So the main thing is that there's nothing wrong with the PDF as long as the settings are done properly. You want to set it so we don't like compressions, for instance. So in the area of compressions, you go in there, we turn it off completely, no compressions. We end up getting a bigger file, but that's okay. We want to make sure that the fonts are embedded, right? Make sure your fonts are embedded. We get many files, beautifully done font is not embedded, and it's gotta be, put aside and wait. Delays your project, shifts the time into some other zone, and it becomes a problem for you.